So good evening to everyone present here, and welcome to today's Friends of Elephants event. So before we start with our main topic, let us first know about this initiative of Friends of Elephants. So Friends of Elephants, it's not an organization and it's not proposing to become one. It is an informal group of people coming together with varied expertise concerned about elephants and other wildlife. The group is a forum for disseminating knowledge linked to elephants and other wildlife science, conservation, and welfare through art, culture, literature, movies, talks, and panel discussions. We have been conducting these events as offline events since April 2014 and from 2020 as online events. Our expectation is that people who have attended our events gain knowledge in a very informal way and also on their own and or with their proximity to the people from policy making, help in developing appropriate conservation and welfare measures for wildlife, including elephants. So the main topic of today is elephants in Tripura, managing elephants in the remote and hilly states of Northeast India. And to discuss about this, we have two very special guests from Tripura. We have Mr. Krishna Gopal Roy, who will be talking on challenges in managing elephants in island forests in Tripura. And we have a conversation lined up next on the topic elephant status, issues, conservation, and its future. The conversation will be directed by Mr. Akshay Balu Bhorde. And finally, we'll have a Q&A session with our guests, which will be moderated by Mr. Sanjay Ajanikar. Before we start, just a brief introduction about myself. I'm Amlan Aditya Goswami. I did my post-graduation in environmental biology and wildlife sciences from Cotton University. I joined Asian Nature Conservation Foundation in 2018 as a GIS consultant, where one of my primary engagements was to map the elephant distribution and estimation of elephant population under the Pan-India Synchronized Elephant Population Estimation Exercise of 2017. During my time in ANCF, I had the fortune of learning from eminent scientists and researchers who inspired me to pursue a career in ecological research. In 2020, I co-authored a book called Atlas, Elephant Distribution, Corridors, and Potential Habitat Links in Arunachal Pradesh. I'm currently associated with Dakshin Foundation as a senior project associate under a project which focuses on long-term monitoring of Asian elephants through radiotelemetry and the conservation in the Kaziranga-Karbi Anglong landscape. I'm also pursuing my PhD from Cotton University, Guwahati. Now, moving on to our first talk by Mr. Krishna Gopal Roy, and the topic will be challenges in managing elephants in island forests in Tripura. Now, before we jump into that, Mr. Krishna Gopal Roy, he graduated in BSc Forestry from Nerist, Arunachal Pradesh, and is serving in the Tripura Forest Department since 2001. Presently, he's a Deputy Conservator of Forests Wildlife in the Forest Headquarters, Tripura. He worked in forest protection as in charge of Forest Protection Unit in 2 districts, worked as a curator and zoo director, Sepahijala from 2012 to 2015, and a wildlife warden, Sepahijala Wildlife Sanctuary, 2015 to 2016. He has undergone the PG diploma in advanced wildlife management from Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. He has an extensive experience of working in chronic human-elephant conflict areas of the state in the capacity of Subdivisional Forest Officer, Teliamura, from 2018 to 21. During his tenure, the FPU Teliamura won the Best Forester Award from the state government in 2019 for Best Forest Protection Activities in the state. And in 2020, again, as a HQ Range Forest Officer, he won the Vanaratna Award from the state government. I welcome you, sir, and I request you to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Amlan. Good evening, all. Actually, thanks to Friends of Elephants and Wildlife Trust of India to give me such an opportunity to share my experiences rather on managing human-wildlife conflict in the state. And to begin with, I would like to share the first slide of my presentation, very small. I think it's visible.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
Okay. Now, this is a photograph which one of our village volunteer committee member took in 2021 April of around 14 elephants, wild elephants in one of the water bodies created artificially in Gilatali area of Teliamura. So with this slide, I'll start my presentation. Before going to all these details, management issues and challenges, I would like to give a brief overview on our state, small state, which is landlocked in northeast part of India. So Tripura is a predominantly a hilly state of total geographical area of 10,490 square kilometer, out of which 6,292 square kilometer is forest land. That is that amounts to 59.98%, around 60%. The state is surrounded by international border Bangladesh, that is 856 kilometer length along three sides. One side is Mizoram border, another side is Assam border. If we go to the forest types, we have 6 forest types in the state according to Champion and Shade classification. So basically moist deciduous forest type with bamboo breaks, also sal bhavar.
Sorry, sir, just I'm sorry to interrupt. I think your slide is stuck. It's on slide 1, and we can only see slide 1, sir.
Yeah, I have not.
Okay.
I'm in slide 1 only.
Okay. Sorry, sir. And sir, can you just put it in slideshow mode?
Slideshow. Okay. Is it okay?
No, sir, it's not come to slideshow.
Stop sharing and again share.
Sir, can you just click on F5 on your keyboard?
F5, sir.
It's not happening.
Or sir, Shift F5 will also work. Shift plus F5, sir.
No.
Okay, so then I think so we can continue. So you can again stop and share the screen again. That might work. So yeah.
Is it okay now? No.
It is yeah. So I think it's coming. So.
It's okay. Can I continue?
Yes, sir. You can continue, sir. You can do it manually from here also, if it's not getting into slideshow. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
So this our state is actually located in biogeographic zone of 9B Northeast Hills and is one of the biodiversity hotspot in the country. So and very rich in actually endangered flora and fauna. And the flora and fauna actually has a close affinity and resemblance to the Indo-Chinese and Indo-Malayan sub-region. So to understand the state dynamics and today's challenges and management, we have to go to a bit historical part of the state, because now what you see is a landlocked state with border fencing. Almost 95% fencing has been done along the three sides. So animals cannot migrate earlier, which it used to. So if you go to understand the present situation, you have to know the history of the state. The history, there is a historical, very renowned historical chronicle of the state, that is Rajmala, Sri Rajmala. And Tripura was a kingly state. It was never ruled by British directly. Rather, it used to share the revenue to the Britishers. So, and this historical, the king rules, everything has been documented by scholars in one book called Sri Rajmala in 1431 AD. And the first part was written by Maharaja Dharma Manikka, the king of Manikka dynasty, to 1462 AD. And there are actually 6 volumes of Rajmala. So 2 volumes has later been lost, and we now have only 4 volumes of Rajmala. So according to Rajmala volume 3, it says that as like other princely states or other parts of the country, there was a convention of hunting wild animals like as a game, wildlife. The kings used to take those animals as game, and King Amar Manikka, after crossing the river Titas in 1500 Sakabda, means this Tripura was part of present Bangladesh, a part of the Assam, and present West Bengal. So this was a greater Tripura with hills and plains. So it used to have the hilly part of the northeastern region, confluence with the plains of this present Bangladesh, and the Kachar part of Assam. So naturally, this state used to have earlier, as per volume 3 of Rajmala, Tripura used to have wild buffaloes, tigers, many species of deers, 8 species of primates. Presently, we have 6 species of primates. Then even tigers were seen in 1970. 6 tigers were recorded during tiger census. That is the record by Bhattacharya and Chakraborty, 1986. Presence of tigers were apparent from administrative report of Tripura state for the year 1927 to 28, where one forest guard was killed in one place called Matinagar, which is presently in Sonamura subdivision of the state, was killed by tiger. Actually, forest was the principal source of revenue then during the kingly regime. The revenue records of the relevant time show that toll on forest produce had constantly increased, providing possible clue to depletion of vast forest resources to a considerable extent. Special features of forestry administration from 1873 to 1943 are also available from administrative reports of Tripura, prepared initially by British political agent in the state and later by Tripura Darbar. The administrative report of the political agency of Hill Tripura for the years 1872 to 73 and to 1889 to 90, and the administrative reports of Tripura state starting from the year 1901 to 1902 show that the important source of revenue in the first of the half of the 20th century in Tripura were rent for lands in plains, family tax, which they used to call Ghar Chukti Kor, duties on forest products, cotton and til, etc. And very importantly, relevant to this present topic, state of elephants from Kheda Mahal. So these wild elephants, there was a actually during the king regime, there was a way of capturing wild elephants by Kheda Mahal, and those were being captured and sold to the Britishers and other states also for means their requirements in battles and for as also a gesture. So in 1921 to 22, these Kheda operations, which were actually handled by Land Revenue Department, was handed over to Forest Department. Then in the year 1928, Act 2 for prevention of smuggling of elephant tusk was passed by Maharaja then. So till the year 1900, elephant khedas yielded major part of the revenue, which later stopped in the year 1950. So as reported in annual administrative report of 1972-73 of government of Tripura, 12 elephants were captured during the year 1972-73, yielding a revenue of rupees 8,116, which was realized by Forest Department. So why I told the brief history of this forest administration in pre-independence era, because today's wildlife or whatever management in forestry sector, in forest department, or dealing with elephants, we have to know this history, because today, as on date, we have many captive elephants in the state, whose source or origin, few elephants source and origin you will find that they were procured, their mothers were procured from Kedama in 1972. We have that records. Now, this way, this state later on in 25 January 1972, it got the statehood day, statehood. It became an independent state and has given a state status from princely regime, and all this, the present day administration came in. Gradually, after it became a state, still the borders were open. The borders were completely open, and the landscape was open, and it ended in Bangladesh. So this state was there, the faunas, the wildlife in the state, which used to be there in this part of this country, used to move freely across the state and other part of the adjacent country without any barrier. So their normal mode of dispersal were happening. There might have been adverse factors, biotic factors, there might have been some human disturbances, but their behavior, normal behavior, were not suffered until the area, border areas were fenced. Now, this state, although it is a very small state, I think the third smallest state in the country, if you consider from the biodiversity point of view, it is very rich state. The soil, the edaphic condition of the state, the climatic condition of the state. So this state is so fertile. The diversity of this state, as I can narrate here, you can see that 379 species of trees, 320 species of shrubs, 581 herbs, 165 climbers, 45 epiphytes, and many more. 90 mammalian species has been recorded in the state. These I am talking from the annual report of the Forest Department. So this way, this state is rich in its endangered flora and fauna. But when we come to the management side, presently we see that we are struggling with wildlife and people administration, people management. We are struggling with the wildlife management as well as people management because of many happenings in between from 1972 till date. The most prominent and the most happening time was 2006, 2007, when the Record of Forest Rights Act came in. That is, we call it Forest Patta. So Tripura was a pioneer state in issuing forest pattas to the tribals who were dwelling in the forest areas. And that was a time when our forest actually gradually it started becoming honeycombing. It started fragmenting. There were rural developments, there were all sort of development project, linear projects happening, infrastructural developments were going on for public. In between, this forest patta came in, and it was actually given to the large chunk of areas. It has taken away large chunk of areas, I would say. And during issue of forest patta, those things were not kept in mind. These wildlife, the large mammals, their behaviors, their requirements, their needs were not kept in mind. This problem of wild elephant in Tripura, it is not a 10-year long or 15-year long problem. It is a 35, 40-year long problem, specifically in Teliamura part of this forest subdivision, means the state of district under district Khowai. This area here, the elephants were actually trapped, because earlier these elephants used to move to Bangladesh, and when the area was fenced, these elephants could not move to Bangladesh by a Khowai subdivision. In between, these ROFers came in. There were linear developments. There were schools, colleges, railway lines, highways. And finally, these elephants were confused and were blocked in around 40 to 45 square kilometer area. If we, in this Tripura condition, when the topic is challenges in island part, islands in forest means that there are presently 3-4 subpopulations of wild elephants. The last census, elephant estimation, which we did with the help of NCF in 2021 April, we found around 40 to 45 wild elephants in the state, and they are distributed in 4 areas actually. 2 subpopulations in the Khowai district. 1 subpopulation is in Gomati district, and 1 very small population in South district, actually bordering Gomati. My presentation is not moving. And you can see this is a population in Gomati district. Kilometer, this aerial distance, and they are not crossing, they are not meeting each other. Earlier, wild elephant used to move in Longtarai hills also. In Longtarai hills, wild elephant used to move. Even this part, presently, there was a dam. There was a dam called Dumbur Dam, which was constructed in 1970s. the first hydropower project in the state. And this dam actually blocked the movement of elephants to these areas. This population used to move earlier. So after this dam, a huge reservoir was blocking the corridor of these elephants, and this district, Tarai, came out of its the name of elephants only, but presently you will not find any wild elephants in these districts. Now these elephants are means gradually moving to a south district in solitary manner, or they have started migrating. So there might be many factors for migration. So how we started here? When I joined in 2018 in Teleamura was my predecessors and is a high elephant conflict zone, and there are lots of stories on wild elephant killing human beings and again retaliatory killings and all. So it is a pure territorial subdivision with all sorts of activities, including smuggling of timbers, all development activities, all livelihood issues. After I did my this postgraduate diploma, my orientation was towards wildlife earlier also, and it was more after the training. And I joined with an oriented mind to do something for the elephants. But unfortunately, when I joined, I started finding the records from where to start. In this, I have no hesitation to say that I did not find any systematic records or an institutional mechanism where we'll fight back the conflict issues in these areas, where we'll see to the staff welfare issues, who will go and do the duties with the villagers, what is the status of paying compensation to the people. I started, there is no maps created, which are the vulnerable areas. Staffs were scattered, duties were not allotted, specified. When I moved to, I remember when I moved to one village, that village is in Gilatali, Pramodnagar. The fourth day of my joining, I went with staffs to that village. There was a crop depredation last night, and the next day I went there with staffs. The villagers came running towards me and was extremely aggrieved. They were actually shouting at me to the forest department. They did not knew that I joined recently. So that was a horrible experience for me. Means there was absolutely no confidence, no bridge between the forest department and those villagers. Then I came back. Similarly, I went in few more areas with villagers, with staffs. I found the same reactions everywhere. So it went around 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, it went like that. I was struggling to manage these things on daily basis. I saw that in Teleamura, this is a daily affair. The elephants are coming to the crop fields. after evening, they are depleting the crops. And it is a daily affair. Means in 90 days, if I take 3 months time, in 90 days, almost 85 days it came. And there are calls from public representatives, local bodies. Means a huge chaos, and the staffs are all confused where to move, where to go. So this way it cannot run. Then what I saw, that the gaps I saw, I started thinking that I have to improve the public relationships first. So how it can be done? I went for the compensation records. There is a government norms where compensation are paid to the victims of elephant raidings and elephant crop damage, against crop damage, heart damage, injuries. So state government also has notified one. State government in 2018, there was a notification. It was upgraded in 2020. So it was like 10,000 for the ceiling limit was 10,000 for crop damage, 15,000 for heart damage, 2 lakhs for injury, grievous injury, 5 lakhs for death. So these are the provisions. So I went through the records, office records, and I have seen, surprisingly, that after 94 like that, after that, no records I could find showing that compensation has been paid to certain peoples, certain farmers or villagers against this wild elephant depredation. So that was the position, and I started streamlining these compensation procedures. So this was the first time I took all the pending cases, followed the procedures. The procedures a bit lengthy. It has to get through SDM office to Tahsildar, revenue, joint inspection, then the beneficiary, it has to go to his account directly through treasury. So this process I streamlined for 10 cases only, first time at one go. And it was given to the 2017 pending cases. I issued them between March 2019. I could issue 10 cases. The next stage, what I did, I started, you can see this picture, if it is visible to you. I saw that how many dedicated staffs are actually doing the duty in this area for elephant, only elephant duties. There are many other sections, park duty, nursery duty, protection, other. But how many? Only I saw that only 6 staffs are 6 permanent laborers, and one is forest guard. They are assigned to the duty.
Hello, sorry to interrupt, sir. I think it got stuck again. So I would suggest one thing. You can reshare it, but don't put it on slideshow. I think when you do that, it gets stuck. So you can just, instead of putting it on slideshow, you can just put it in the opening window itself. Yeah.
So I'll stop share and again reshare.
Reshare it, sir. Yeah. I think you're on 3rd slide, is it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I'll share again. This one?
This one, sir. Don't. Yes. So you can change this slide now. No need to put it on slideshow, sir.
Okay. So what I saw, that only 6 staffs are there, and they are using bicycles to react to the points. Means when they get an information that from one part there has been a crop damage. They have to reach there with their patakas and crackers and all. They used to have bicycles, and it took a long time to reach the place of incidents. By that time, the people are aggrieved that forest department has not responded. They were aggrieved, they leave the place with full of grievances. And staffs used to reach there, they could not distribute the kits, they could find nothing. So that was the situation. Then I called all the permanent laborers from the subdivision except the nursery workers and assembled them together and just took a review that what specific jobs or works they are doing. I saw that they are not doing, they are just sharing their responsibilities, means they are not specified or posted somewhere with some specific assignments. So I took all those staffs and I have given full set of uniforms to them. That was my first step. Because to fight such a chronic menace, I need to have a good team with me. Without a team effort, it cannot be done. And then my DFO sir was very cooperative, and my range officers, beat officers, with all those PLs, we had a good dynamics among ourselves and formed a very good team. When I gave the full set of uniforms to them and I assigned them some specific duties, I made some subgroups, some groups in them to make a shifting duty. I gave 4 motorbikes. Those were actually available in different range offices. Was just lying down due to some small maintenance or not being used properly. I collected all 4 motorbikes. I have issued to those teams, team leaders of the groups. Streamlined the fuel issue of the motorbikes. Why I am telling all these things? Because as a manager, I felt that these small issues, a motorbike is given, he is not getting the fuel for it. So how much salary? He is getting a very small amount of salary, and he cannot, how he can buy POL or who will lend him? So there should be a mechanism that this X range has to bear the cost of the POL, has to maintain the records of their duties on monthly basis. So that Kallanpur range, one of the range of Teliamura, was assigned the responsibility. I devised some formats like elephant dossier, they should maintain. Some registers they should maintain. Wherever they see elephants, they should take GPS. I provided them GPS. They used to take the GPS readings. A small cameras, a small camera, one camera only I could provide. Then, and they started moving in the area. So you see, by March 2019, there was a slight change in the scenario. So I was mentioning that this thing, this improving public relations through compensation procedures. One more thing I did, I coordinated, took these issues with BDOs, subdivisional magistrate, HDPO in my subdivision area. Means with and few public representatives also, Panchayat Samiti chairperson, BAC chairman. And when I could pay those compensation, I informed them that this much compensation has been paid. for their information only, that we are now paying compensation to them. I have also narrated the list of staffs who are on duty. Few contact numbers I have given to those villages, the important people of those villages, to the BDOs. Now about the staff and the bridging the gaps. What gap I have seen? I have given the conveyance. Now they do not have any shelter. In monsoon or in scorching heat, the staffs are moving for elephant duty. So where they will stay, where they will rest, there was no barrack, no dedicated center where they can hide their heads. They used to take shelter below some trees or in some people's houses. So there was no such places in strategic points. I started building up this with 2 tree merchants. So the corridors, in the corridors 2000, you can see one here. This one photo I put. See the tree merchants actually created in one strategic point where the elephants used to enter Atharmura Hills from the foothills. So they used to stay there. Then the next financial year, I created a dedicated barrack, beat office come guard barrack in Gilatali, which is a very vulnerable area for elephant depredation in Teliamura. Finally, in the terms of infrastructure, we could create a ADS team, anti-depredation squad, from user agency fund and an elephant camp in Mungiakami. So these ADS, so gradually with these staffs, the next step was building infrastructure and addressing to the staff welfare issues and making much bigger team for this menace. Then initiated certain more specialized activities. When the system started running, then new areas come to the eyes which needs improvement and improvisation. So this area has a history of poaching tuskers. So for that, only now the staffs were doing the anti-depredation activities in the evening after sunset. Now, what about the anti-poaching activities? So a separate specialized team was formed within this team, which used to randomly in a week thrice in a week, they used to move in vulnerable areas, in probable areas, with a defined format in their hands. What they used to observe in the field? They used to observe 3-4 things. Number one is, while they used to do on foot, this is the picture of special format. They used to do on foot patrolling in the forest areas. They used to take the water sample from water bodies inside the forest and also observe the water bodies inside the forest. Any deaths of frogs, toads, fishes, means whether the water body is clean or not toxic in it or poisoned. That is one thing, observation. The second was due to block the depredation activities, villagers used to put naked 4 mm wire around their houses. So this is again illegal, and they were using hook lines. So we informed the police, informed the electric department, but they practically they don't. I would not say cooperate. They don't come in the front line of the public directly on such issues. So what we did, we started identifying those spots and took photographs of those areas with GPS reading, geotech photographs of those areas which are surrounded by naked 4 mm wires. The third thing, what we started observing, there are some areas, small depressions, very small flat hillocks, strategic points which can be used very well by the poachers to poach the elephants. And some trees and tree machans, if such tree machans or in those areas are seen, those areas are means those tree machans are broken, those areas are actually recorded and brought to the office, our notice, with in a compiled format. So when we map those locations and those positions in a month, we can find out that which areas are having more vulnerability towards this getting killed by any these adverse factors, human created factors, and those areas next month are covered in more frequencies. So this is a special format that I started in 2019, and it yielded wonderful result, because when I joined the department and this Teliamura and everything, this elephant menace 24/7, actually it came into my mind. I took a stand that I cannot check human deaths, but my best possible effort will be there to check retaliatory killings of elephants. No elephant should die. Human deaths I have to manage, but I have to check elephant deaths. So this was the special patrolling that we used to conduct in the daytime. Next, building up joint teams. The things were actually going well. It started responding. So gradually, the importance of this area and the problem we could highlight to the forest headquarters. And you could see, or then PCCF sir visited some areas, used to visit and talk to the people. So gradually the problem we could percolate to the higher officials. Even first time we held a meeting under the chairmanship of district magistrate simply on elephant issues. The first time in the recent past. And with all line departments, we could connect on these issues. In 2020, experts were invited. Like you see, Dr. Verma, then Chief Wildlife Warden sir also acknowledged the problem here and our efforts, what we are doing, and an expert agency was invited, institution was invited to work on the research activities, to work on the estimation, because no scientific lines. So this somewhat we have institutionalized or streamlined the management of this or handling this wild elephant depredation in this area. Then parallelly, we started inviting experts for scientific studies and researchers. Another thing also we did, we started sensitization programs in villages. And in real term, we did it. If I see that in Teliamura, around 12-13 villages were identified as vulnerable areas for elephant depredation. So the villages like Pramodnagar, Premsing, Orang, so those villages are identified actually. And we planned our annual program of sensitization, of kit distribution to the villages, of allotting the staffs, detailing the staffs to the villages, which staff will cover which villages. So there are like the villages are like Pramodnagar, Premsing, Orang, Uttar Maharani, Dakhin Maharani, BC, Madhya Pradesh, Krishnapur, North Krishnapur, Uttar Gilatoli, Durgapur, Dakhin Durgapur, Namanjai Bari, Lakshmipur, Chakmaghat, Ramkrishnapur. These are the villages which were actually having the major problem in Teliamura subdivision. And a small part of Khowai subdivision was also there. Simultaneously, we did some more thing, ancillary activities, like we have stopped issuing umbrella handle. There is a this umbrella handle collection used to happen from certain areas under Teliamura subdivision under access benefit sharing of Tripura Biodiversity Board with formal agreement. So we stopped in certain areas that there should not be any collection of umbrella handles. So these umbrella handles are mainly collected. These are that species Bambusa, Dendrocalamus longispethus. Those bamboos are collected, and those bamboos are eaten by wild elephants also. And the areas actually overlap those wild elephants' refuge and their habitat. So we have stopped Chief Wildlife through Chief Wildlife order. So that was also an we gave the traders alternate areas in Atharamura from where they can collect. So these are some ancillary activities. So not only about staff management, but improving the wildlife habitat, elephant habitat. We started creating water holes, then wild banana plantations, salt lick. So overall, a team was working for conservation of wild elephant. And till 2021, we could provide around 37 lakhs of compensation. You can imagine from nil to 37 lakhs of compensation on record in the account of the victims, deceased family members or the victim. So overall, there was a team mobilized into these activities. In till 2019, there was no development of, so 2019 end, there was an incident with our staff. And there was a clash with the smugglers in a village with our anti-depredation squad. And then the idea came in of creating village volunteers in 2019 end. And every villages, we started talking to the Gram Pradhans, Panchayat Samiti chairperson, BAC chairperson, and we started creating village volunteers in 13 villages, 2 to 4 people, as nominated by the Gram Pradhans, and they used to work with our staff jointly. We provided transit camps, like transit camps in various areas, and the village volunteers and the staff used to stay and do duty in those areas. So we trained the village volunteers later. We used to provide them kits, all sort of. You'll be surprised, and surprisingly, there was no kits which or equipments which could be used for this for managing this HWC. We procured aniders, we procured bee buzzers, we attempted that chili fence. We took it from the Assam experience, and that red chili powder mixed with tobacco leaf and mobile, and this was also working in some areas. So tried all the possible things which could help us in managing this conflict. I remember with respect to the departed soul, Dr. Ramkumar was here in 2020 with request of sending, a request was sent to WTI to do some extended activities, because they are working in Assam. So in Tripura, we wanted that some national level NGOs need to work here for the elephants. And we approached WTI, and Dr. Ramkumar was sent for survey. And 2000, unfortunately, he departed during COVID times, and that was a great, that was a huge blow to us. Means after huge effort, some researchers from a reputed institute came here to work, and unfortunately, it could not be carried forward. Finally, it was neutralized by NCA. They responded. Dr. Verma was kind enough. He came here for, there was an initiative of special estimation of wild elephants in Tripura. And in 2021, Amlan also came in. And there was again a boost to the scientific thinking started towards elephant conservation in the state. So this was overall the efforts that was taken to manage this human wildlife conflict or human elephant conflict in Teliamura sector of this state. The small, I detailed my field, I shared actually my field experiences as a forester, what I could possibly do. I took myself as a team leader of my subdivision. I did not share the responsibility to any range officer, to any forester, forest guard. I stood in the front and facilitated their movements, their welfares, and could see that things were changing. I gave my contact number to the villagers, to the people, that for elephants, you call directly to me. Started one more thing which responded very well, that when there used to have depredation, the next day I sent staff to the door of that victim villagers to collect the application, to collect the annexures, other cards or ration cards. So that he should not come to my office after he see that his crops are damaged, his harvest are eaten by elephants, and he should not come a long way to my office and submit all this. So let our staff go and collect it. So that has actually yielded a lot. And at the end of the day, it was hectic. Definitely it was hectic. It is not that only human elephant conflict, because it is, I said earlier that it is completely a territorial area. Human elephant conflict is just a segment of the total forest administration here. But taking it as a focus activity and also other activities side by side, it was really hectic. But since work was done by a team, it was a team game completely, it was satisfying too. The team, you will now find that in this area, due to all these things, the staffs from PL to forest guards, even foresters, even villagers as village volunteers, they now know how to tackle these issues without harming the elephants. What are the ways you can handle these issues? At least they have that basic idea. So they will not create a much chaos and try to disturb the whole situation. They know the way. So this is a streamlining of these areas. Now the challenges. Why I am saying so much of a small area with hardly, I would say 20 to 25 elephants, wild elephants. I'm saying so much areas, I'm showing so much photographs here. This 45 to 50 square kilometer area where these wild elephants are now fragmented, this area is this part. The area is moist deciduous forest. In some areas there are rubber plantations, some areas bamboo patches. So you will see, and the areas have habitations in between: school, colleges, roads, hospitals, blocks, offices. Like the forest is highly fragmented. There are paddy fields in between. There are vegetable crop cultivation going on. These elephants are not crossing the railway line. These elephants are not crossing the highways. So there are so many factors in between that the elephants are not visible. The area is undulating. Area has a high vegetation cover, has huge population density scattered across the whole area. The other parts of the national highway in the Atharumura Hills, in some pockets, why now elephants are not moving? Other parts, there are security issues also. That because there are multiple communities living in these areas, all communities don't behave equally to elephants. So elephants, when they start feeling that I am safe in this area and I'm breeding with my calves, I am feeling safe, and although people are shouting at us, but still they are not hitting us. So they don't leave the area. in between some solitary bull, they or male get distracted and go to some areas. Again, they come back to those areas. Those areas are like Krishnapur, Madhya Krishnapur, Uttar Krishnapur. So how many factors are working, so which are actually disturbing the elephants from every side, and they are managing their feed requirements, their shelter, with all these problems and issues in this area. So it is not like that there is a, if you cross this river, you will find a huge plain land, plain grassland. They will go and come back after 6-month cycle. Very surprisingly, these elephants are moving in 45 to 50 square kilometer area, and they are in the all harvesting seasons, in all when the almond paddy is cultivated, they come to these areas. Again, during the boro dhan, again they come. So it is very hard to actually manage such a small populations in such a condition, because if you want to drive the elephants away, you cannot drive, because you will find villages in a scattered honeycombing manner. You cannot erect a EPT, you cannot construct an EPT or erect solar electric fencing and block the movement of the elephants to the villages, because there are small hamlets and paras. So which area you will surround or block? So elephants are everywhere, humans are everywhere. So such a landscape, in such a condition, it is very difficult. I would not say that it is so easy job that our frontliners or our people are doing, that they are managing those elephants, managing those people. But finally, how long it can be done? Today's session, actually, I have just shared the scenario, but with such, I thank again the forum that has given such an opportunity to talk about the Tripura elephants. A very small elephant, but a single elephant, harm to a single elephant is a danger to the conservation, I feel. So I feel that from today's discussion, today's session, we can find a possible solution to these 20-25 elephants, or rather 40-45 elephants, how to proceed with, what may be the possible solutions, rather than silently thinking or watching the menace and finally surrendering before the human vigor. So that should not be, because we are all practicing conservation, and we should make no stone unturned. We should dream. We should think for all possible solutions which have never happened in any part of the country or the world. We can start here. We can show the other areas that this can be done. So this is my this is what I like to say in today's topic. So thank you. Now I end my presentation here.
Sure. So thank you so much for this extremely informational presentation. Thank you for taking us in Tripura and sharing all the scenarios, the initiatives and improvements to the managerial and operational measures that you have done is highly commendable and can be an example for many states in India. So thank you for sharing that. We would, so the participants are asked to post their questions in the chat box. All of those questions will be addressed during our Q&A session. Now, sir, can I request you to stop screening, sir?
Yeah,
Stop screen sharing. Yeah. So we'll move on to our next session, which is a conversation between Akshay Balu Bhorde and the previous speaker, Mr. Krishna Gopal Roy. The conversation will be on elephant status, issues, conservation, and its future. So Mr. Akshay Balu Bhorde graduated in BSc Agriculture from Mahatma Phule Krishi Vidyapeeth, Ahmednagar, Maharashtra. He belongs to Indian Forest Service, Officer of 2019 batch, Tripura cadre. He completed probation period in Teliamura subdivision as range officer and worked in human-elephant interface area and prepared a concept note on human-elephant interface in Tripura. He also worked as a subdivisional forest officer in Dharmanagar Forest Subdivision and was a wildlife warden of Rowa Wildlife Sanctuary in North Tripura district. In 2022, he was posted as District Forest Officer of Khowai district in Tripura. Khowai district is a wildlife capital of Tripura and has the largest human-elephant interface in Tripura. I welcome you, sir, and I request you to take it forward.
So good evening, all of you. So first, I will share my screen. Hope I think it's visible to all of you.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, fine. So first of all, thanks for inviting us and choosing the topic of elephants in Tripura for today's session. So I firstly thank to Friends of Elephants and other entire team of the Friends of Elephants here. And so as I joined very recently here, in my probation period also, I joined here as a range officer for 2 months. And 2 months back only, I joined here as a district forest officer, Khowai district. And DCF Wildlife also have given overview of this division also, as he worked here for almost 3 years almost. And most of the part he already covered from historical perspective also, and how they have managed and how they have started the new measures in Teliamura Forest Subdivision. So I will also go through the slides and whatever the challenges and whatever the mitigation strategies that we have to continue and we have to check this human-elephant interference in future. So this is the very because most of the participants they are from mainland India. So regarding Tripura, it's a very small state, third smallest state after Goa and Sikkim. It is landlocked also from 3 sides. Bangladesh is there, and from one side Assam state is there. So it's a completely landlocked, and it's a very small state, only 10,490 square kilometer area. So considering the forest area, Tripura is having totally 8 districts, and uh, it's very biodiversity rich state, and the forest cover is almost 63 to 65% geographically forest cover is there, and the type of forest is mostly tropical evergreen to semi-evergreen, and there are sub classifications also according to the champions and set classification. So in overall Tripura, there are 4 wildlife sanctuaries and 2 national parks, and we have the like wildlife wild elephants are there, clouded leopards, primates. 7 species of primates are found in Tripura, and we are celebrating the Roa Primate Festival everywhere. From last year, we are started the celebrating the primate festivals, hornbill festivals, butterfly festivals, then bison festivals. So like that, we are also creating awareness throughout the Tripura every year. So related to the that wild elephants, so totally approximately 45 to 50 wild elephants are there in Tripura, mostly in Khowai and Gomati districts. And recently we carried out the that captive elephant assessment also. In that, totally 74 captive elephants are there, and it's very good job done by the forest headquarter and wildlife division, and our DC of wildlife. He is very important key person in holding this assessment camp of the this captive elephants in Tripura. So I will directly go to the how this human-elephant interface is mostly in this Teliamuras Forest subdivision of Khowai district. So I will go through the reasons or challenges that because I recently joined here, and whatever I understood within this 2 and 3 months, I just prepared these slides only. So the first reason I think is the this topography and location wise of Tripura. So it's mostly the hilly area, and you can see in the map also there are north south hilly hills are there. So we can go from west to east, like Baramura Hills, Atharmura Hills, Longtarai Hills, like Jampo Hills, and Khowai. In between Baramura and Atharmura Hills, there is a Khowai district is there. So it's mostly hilly terrain, and so the movement of elephants is also restricted because of these hilly areas. Then second, I think the concentrated population. So we can see the through these maps also, this very concentrated population is there. As DCF Wildlife also mentioned, there are only 3 to 4 pockets of this population in all over the Tripura. So in Atharmura Hills, that in this Teliamura subdivision, we can found approximately 20 to 24 elephants in 22 square kilometers. So it's a concentrated population. So the nature of human elephant interface is going on and is increasing. So we have to do this measurement part for this elephant interface. So third, I think the most important reason is the habitat fragmentation. It is because of this, you can see the linear projects that National Highway 8 is going from this Khowai district, then railway lines are there, then many we might be knowing in the northeast region, mostly the tribal people, they are doing the Zoom cultivation. So many there are hardcore Jumias. They are multiple times they are doing the Zooms in same area. So there is a habitat fragmentation is going on. Then encroachment issue is also there. We can see the from photograph also, you can see the that paddy field in there, and along with that forest area is there. So in Tripura, mostly it's a hilly area. So on hills we can find the forest area, and in valley region, that people they are doing the paddy cultivation or whatever agriculture they are doing. So there is very every day there is an interface between wild elephants and the local habitations. So it will increase the interface daily, and we can see the that forest area is now decreasing, and that human habitations is increasing. You can see in the photographs also, and some people they are going in the forest also. That's why I'm not calling this as a human elephant conflict. It's the interface only, because most of the people they are going inside the forest to collect this bamboo. You can see the photograph, bamboo shoots also there. They are collecting bamboo shoots. Then NTFPs also, they are going inside the forest. And that's why mostly interface is, and whatever the in history also, whatever the cases of death happen, human death happen, it's all because of the that we are the people, that people are going inside the forest, not because of the elephants they are coming outside the forest and they are damaging. Yes, they are coming outside, but it's because of the human interference, and mostly people are, they are going inside, and because of the habitat fragmentation, and because of the poor availability of water and food, they are coming outside. And this is, I think, the fourth, this is human habitation. You can see the that elephant is there, and that forest area is also there, and near that house is there. So most of the area, this is actually social structure of this area. Most of the villages and most of the habitations, they are very near to forest areas. And in we can see that most of the in foothills, people are, they are doing their agriculture, they are nearby the their houses, they are planting jackfruits, then bananas. So it's like a restaurant for wild elephants. That's why they are coming in the lean season or in summer season, when there is a uh, less availability of water and food inside the forest. They are coming outside, and these are the houses. They are like means restaurants for the elephants. So most of the time they are coming outside, and this is the actually season from November, December, January. Most of the depredation they are having this within these 3-4 months only. So whatever measures that we are already taken, and from the previous um, uh, that wildlife warden, DCF wildlife also mentioned, and they have already actually started this formation of anti-depredation squad. So in that they have, means we have the 3 camps at Madhya Krishnapur, Kapali, Tila, and Chaplai. So these are the vulnerable areas. Mostly depredation is going there. So we having these temporary camps there, and we have one mobile team also, then village volunteers, whatever the 28 villages where the mostly that depredation happens. We have selected the village volunteers, so they are helping to forest department in the depredation, anti-depredation activities. So this we are regularly doing the awareness drives in the areas. We are also distributing the kits, that anti-depredation kits, which includes the firecracker, the chili smokes, torch lights, and we are giving this regularly to the village people also, and our anti-depredation squad also. And regularly we are doing the training also, and now we are doing the this radio collaring operation also. So within this also we are giving the, and we are building capacity building the of our staff also. So this is the training that our team, they are giving to the local people also. So mostly they are using the these chili fences and crackers, and this you can see the local participation also, as village volunteers also there, and along with many people, they are also participated, and they are helping the forest departments this this management of the interface also. And we are having the this kept the signboards also of do's and don'ts. Then this come to the DC Wildlife also mentioned about the compensation. Now we are giving the, we have expedited the process of the settling claims also, and we are also going to give the ex gratia compensation to the victims and families, their families. Then, as DC Wildlife also mentioned regarding the this to fasten the process of this compensation claims. So we are organizing these melas for claim settlement at SDM and that SDFO level. So the process is being fastened, and the compensation is given on the within very less time. We are giving the compensation claims also. Regarding these long-term measures in the habitat improvement, we are doing the salt licks also, water holes and check dams we are creating from different schemes inside the forest areas. And then we are also regarding the food stock also, we are having the plantations from for the fruit trees plantation, then bamboo plantations. Then we are using the seed ball technique also to plant the um, plant these seeds and saplings inside the remote areas from this seed ball technique also. Then we are using the technology to monitor the behavior of the these wild elephants also. That Tripura Forest Department, they have also coming up with this firm app, that forest incidents and regulation and monitoring app. So within that also, our staff, we have trained them to enter the details whenever they saw the elephants. They are taking the photographs and then uploading on this app, so that we can over the period of time we can get this animal movement also and wild elephant also, so that accordingly we can manage this interface. Then in second photographs, we are using these colorful lights also to in the depredation areas mostly. So with this, we are now we have completed the Mongiakami elephant camp also for captive elephants, and this is means it's a very we are going to develop it as a tourism site also, and we are training the captive elephants also, and in near future we will start the elephant safari also. And during my probation period, this K Ram Kumar, he's from DCF Wildlife also mentioned about him. Unfortunately, he is not with us, and during that time also I worked him also. We visited many many locations in this Teliamora subdivision, and so I'm actually he helped us, and during that time I prepared one concept note regarding this human elephant interface during my probation period, and a lot of help I got from K Ram Kumar. So I regarding these barriers, so as DCF Wildlife also mentioned that it's very difficult to do this elephant proof trenches also. But in Mungiakami Elephant Camp, we did this small EPT. So this is only on the pilot basis. But once we completed these are the projects, they are in pipeline. And these radio collaring, we named this project as a Tri-Gaj Center. And this is, we are taking the expert help from the ANCF also. And so after this, the major objectives of these radio collaring is to get the to elephants movement patterns, and then we will also identify the animal behavior. Then and it will real time we will get the data that early we can use this as a early warning system, and accordingly we can develop the and use that mitigation measures as EPT, whatever maybe. But after this result, we can have some idea, and whenever we will find the vulnerable areas, and that will help actually in the mitigation part and early warning system. Then we are also focusing on this making elephant reserve, this Atharmura Hills, where the most of the concentration of wild elephants is there. So accordingly, after research and after taking the research note from many expert agencies, then we are this proposal is also in pipeline. That's to make this as an elephant reserve in future. So this is from my side. Actually, whatever I got this understanding from last 3 months, I could able to give the overview of this my presentation. So I think all of from this side, and thanks to project this Friends of Elephant for giving this opportunity to us, and to show our this wild whatever the elephants in Tripura to the mainland India and other our participants. Thank you.
So thank you so much, sir, for that informative overview of status of elephants and issues and mitigation measures that are going on in Tripura now. So I can see questions have started to come. So so can I just can I request you to sir stop sharing your screen? I'll just
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. So now we'll come to our Q&A session, which will be moderated by Mr. Sanjay Ajanikar. I'm sorry. So Mr. Sanjay Ajanikar graduated as a BTech in chemical engineering with a specialization in pharmaceuticals, and he has a postgraduate in management studies with a specialization in marketing. He has worked as market researcher and loyalty program professional for more than a decade. Sanjay Ajanikar has managed various programs from profit as well as non-profit sectors in the capacity of researcher, client servicing, business development, and entrepreneur. He quotes, "I'm taking a leap of marketing research, loyalty marketing, and digital media for wildlife conservation." His re-equipped objective is managing wildlife conservation programs using varied experience and acquired skill sets. Currently, he is associated with Asian Nature Conservation Foundation and Dakshin Foundation for managing research and wildlife conservation programs. So welcome, Sanjay. I request you to take it over. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much, Amlan, and thank you, Mr. Akshay and Mr. Roy. It was really insightful, and I keep repeating this, but it's very important to repeat it. That we have very limited audience, but they are very involved when it comes to anything related to elephants. And by and large, they go back, they visit our Facebook page, they visit YouTube, and they go through these videos. And I would like to mention a couple of things from Mr. Roy's presentation, that the cultural and historical aspect was really, really interesting, because I myself got to know these things today, although I've been working in this landscape for the last couple of months. So thank you for those insights. And also getting into minute details, where you talked about the challenges and the administration and management of those challenges. And I would also like to mention that Mr. Akshay has taken us to the current perspective and the management that looking at the current plan and the future plan that Khowai district has. So it is an overall picture, I would say, for the audience to see what happened in the past and what is the present situation and what is the future outlook. So with that, I would like to take the first question, which is coming from Professor Sayub. He joined us from Indonesia. Thank you, sir, for joining. The question says that in fragmented habitat like Tripura, there is any minimum and maximum population size to maintain the habitat sustainability. So I'm assuming Professor Sayub is asking for population size with respect to elephants. So with that assumption, we can go ahead, or if you would like to unmute yourself and ask the question, you're more than welcome, Professor Sayub.
Thank you, Mr. Ajanikar. I see there is a fragmented population habitat there. So there is any how to manage it? There is any minimum or maximum population, individual by the population on each particular fragmented area. So let's say if more than certain individuals, do you have to move to another or to release for the captive area, something like that? Such as I want to know the minimum population for the elephant to make them survive. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would you like to take the question, Mr. Roy and Mr. Akshay?
Just I would like to mention Professor Sayub. He has put a very pertinent question. Means it is the question that we were discussing earlier also. The carrying capacity means yes. In such a condition, circumstance, how much elephants can we afford in certain areas? So this is the exact question. So for that, my take on this will be, we have to do intensive research on habitat. We have to do intensive social research and the future projections, means where it will go finally. The second thing is we have to find out is the outcome of that research should be the recommendation that you could have only this much elephants for next this much years, and with such a certain elephant reserve notifications or dedicated areas for elephant management. So unless we do these research scientific studies, apparently we cannot say, but theoretically we can say that elephants has its home range, which varies due to depending on the resource availability. In elephant can walk 50 kilometers for their food and water, whereas here surprisingly elephants are so healthy and they are very happy in a small herd of 22 thriving within 35 to 40 square kilometer area. And it is not that they are half fed or they are annoyed or they are happy and they are getting their feed in forest and fields. So this is a very pertinent question and it needs long research initiative. That is my take. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's well answered. And I'm sorry for the mistake, Mr. Sayum. Anything you would like to add, Mr. Akshay, or can we move on to the next question?
We can
That
move
is
on.
enough.
Yeah. So the next questions come from Mr. Sri Venugopal Ramachandran. So it's very interesting observation that he says that in Tripura there are more number of captive elephants than the wild. So it's a very inquisitive question that he has, that whether all are injured or aged, and any initiative that you have where you want to release those captive elephants in the wild.
Should I answer?
Actually, I want to clarify. I have mentioned it's a captive. It's not a captive. It's actually private elephants that there are the private owners also. And most, I think, DC of Wildlife will throw light on this side.
Absolutely. What the sir has mentioned it means rightly, they are private elephants. Actually, they have all private ownerships. So under Section 43 of Wildlife Protection Act, they are issued ownership certificates, and that. So we, if you call captive elephants, we have only 4 departmental captive elephants in our state, and rest are captive. They are means acquiring it. Recently, what we did, we have Government of India has directed Wildlife Institute of India to make a central database and DNA sequencing of all captive elephants in the state, in the country. So we have covered. So for that, they need blood samples, and they have framed a application, Gad Suchana application, that the Government of India is maintaining centrally. So we have done our inventorization. We have sent our blood samples to them for DNA sequencing. So it will be for all states. So what the captive elephants where to release or what to do, this depends on private ownership. But the Forest Department is also monitoring as per 2008 guidelines on captive elephant issued by the ministry.
Sure. I think, thank you for that, sir. And I think it's good that, we kind of explain the difference between private elephants, captive elephants by the department. It's interesting, but again, there is another question come from Mr. Sayan Roy, and I think after you explain the difference, this question, it's like you already answered this question, but I would still like to read it out. It says that which population is increasing, captive or wild. So I don't think so. The private elephant population will increase because there is no scope of increase in the population because these elephants. So you may want to answer this, either of you.
Means his question is, pardon?
Which population is increasing, captive or wild?
No, you see, this way we cannot compare actually this wild
Exactly.
population and captive population, because they here wild are means not controlled. They're means naturally they are behaving and as per their mating behavior and all their breeding, and it is affecting the population growth. But in the private ownership, everything is controlled. If it depends on the private ownership whether to go for a male, go for a female, whether to mate or want a breed. So there cannot be comparison, as I feel.
Sure. Yes. I do agree. So we as a group of volunteers, we have put together a few questions. Before taking those questions, I would like to make a few observations which have come from our team. So the first and foremost is giving us a lot of details. It gives a lot of ideas about what is happening in Tripura, what is happening in northeastern states. And it also gives us a perspective that it's not about a small population, but it's about the challenges which are there and how those are being managed. Because the conflict situation is everywhere when it comes to wild animals, not just elephants, but other animals also, and how those are being managed. And how, Mr. Roy, you have put in efforts and put the processes in place which can be carried forwarded for the betterment of the social as well as conservation initiatives. And there's another observation is about Mr. Akshay has made about calling it as a human interface, elephant interface, instead of calling it as a conflict, because that's a really interesting perspective. Because it's very difficult, and it gives all negative connotation the moment we say a conflict. I think instead the way Mr. Roy has explained about the honeycomb concept, the hamlets which are being almost like a part of forest as well as the civil society, and the elephants are also embroiled in that honeycomb. And then there is resource sharing. There is entry in the forest because they are rather in the forest. So instead of calling it as a conflict, we should call it as a human-elephant interface. So that's very interesting perspective, Mr. Akshay, you have given. So these are the two observations. So I'll ask the question. So, you mentioned about another interesting concept about the village volunteers. So there are a lot of states in India who are struggling to come up with something like this, So how, there are two questions that we as a team have. The question one is, how this village volunteer concept came in picture. That is question one. Mr. Roy can answer that. And the second question is, what is the long-term plan for the village volunteers that may be taken up by Mr. Akshay?
The village volunteers, as I said, it came from an incident actually. When we have streamlined our frontliners and we are working together. Even SDM, in one of the picture I have shown, even SDM Teliamura also with us. And one night, it happened that there used to happen lots of smuggling, because Teliamura is a junction point and it's having two hills and very resourceful, and there are smuggling pressure, illegal filling pressure. And there are lots of, that's why we got that award also for that. So the smugglers, what they did, they are the part of the villages only. So we have seized, we have apprehended many people like that. So they took the cover of the villagers in a vulnerable village in this DM colony, very adjacent to our office, this area, and they just under the cover of the poor innocent villagers, aggrieved villagers, they attacked on our vehicle and on our staff. So finally there was police case, every investigation was there, so everybody rushed in, there was media support with us, and finally we could differentiate that they were not the villagers, they were the smugglers who took the revenge. So I was there, my vehicle gypsy was broken, and then when we there was a police case, that is separate, but then we started analyzing. The next day CCF territorial sir visited the place and he also investigated. Then the idea came up that why don't we take support from villages also, all those villages, and from them also it they gave a positive response that yes, we'll support the village forest department. In return, we also need some support as our livelihood. So what should be the support? That will not be remuneration. This is not a job. And there was a consensus. We started with 5 villages first, 2 from each village. And there was a team of a contingent, and our staffs started performing duties jointly. They were getting means rations, night rations we are managing from our side. Small amount from Project Elephant scheme, central government scheme, we used to get a small kitty amount for rescue teams. So we used to give those people. We used to give small decentralized people nursery, other livelihood initiatives to them, giving priorities in all our other schemes. And it spread like anything, means to other villages also. And it went to the public representatives. Also, we also will give our village volunteers. So they came forward, and what happened in the first instance, it went beyond our control. They thought that forest department is engaging people. So that was a headache for us again. So if they that that public means okay, I'll give 5 people. I'm giving you the scope. You go and work with department. So it went to 51. 51 proposal. So it is not possible, 51. Finally, we had to sit again, negotiate with them. So there is not a job. So 51 we cannot do. We'll take then at our liberty. So everything actually happened not overnight, with dialogues, exchange, and 51 to 30, 30 to 25, again going 32. So gradually they came to some points. So okay, fine. So I like to say, means since district forest officer Khowai is also there, he has to take this thing way ahead. If we keep on paying them like a fixed remuneration, then these are not voluntary activities. Volunteers means they will come for their village sake. We'll prioritize them while distributing works or in sharing our resources and joining hands with the forest department. So they are also JFM committee members. So they should not be compensated by in terms of cash every time. That may backfire at some point of time. So they should feel like a part and parcel of the forest department as a team member, not as an outsource hired for these activities. So
That's interesting. That's interesting. So I would like to direct the next question to Mr. Akshay in terms of future outlook. future plan?
I think this volunteers concept, as DCF Wildlife have mentioned, regarding this, we can't pay the salary. So we are giving them 2 months, 3 months, some small wages part we are giving them as a honorarium or like that. But other than that, they are also working and help the forest department as they are giving the information of illegal activities like timber smuggling, whatever other things. They are also providing the informations, and they know the local area, and they have experienced more about the wild elephants. They know more than us actually, experience wise. So and they are also member, as DCF Wildlife also mentioned, they are also members of the joint forest management committees and the SHGs also. So and in future also we are going to develop this area as a wildlife capital of Tripura, and also this we are doing the ecotourism activities also in future. So we will engage them in there also. And these volunteers, this concept or this engagement they are doing with the forest department, it will go on. It will not stop, as they are the very valuable resource for us. It will go on.
Sure. Thank you so much. So we have next couple of questions which Amlan would like to take up. Amlan, you want to take?
Yes, Sanjay. Yeah. So I had some questions. So I think I'll direct this question to Roy sir. So when sir you were sharing the history of Tripura, you came across, you said something about Kheda Mahals, and there were around 1900 Kheda Mahals in larger Tripura in history. And you said they were operational till 1972. So is there any record about how many elephants may have been sent out of the state during the operation of these Kheda Mahal?
Is exact records how many elephants were captured, that will be available, means at present I do not have, but Rajmala part 3, Sri Rajmala part 3 has the this is the state chronicle, so has the description of Kheda.
Okay.
In the history of Tripura Maharajas. And last record during the captive elephant enumeration, I have seen that in the 1972, there was a general permit issued by Forest Department. An elephant procured from Kheda, means market, Kheda market. Okay. So in somewhere in North Tripura, Dhalai Tripura, Dhalai and North border. So there are evidences, there are records where wild elephants were procured by private owners from Kheda. Okay. But the records, exact numbers, how many elephants were captured, that presently I do not have. But if we go to the details of Rajmala Volume 3, I think it will be available there. Okay. Okay. It's quite interesting because there were quite a large number of these Khedas that were there. So, okay, for my next question, so you mentioned that you have constructed, I mean, there are a lot of plantations and water bodies that you have constructed close to elephant habitats. So what are the selection criteria? How do you select sites for creation of the plantations and water bodies? The water holes we used to select, those areas means there were actually in Teliamura, there are places like named Mai Bekren, then Mai Ganga. These are some terms, names of local places, which in the local vernacular or Kakborok language means elephants. So there are historical records of wild elephants visiting those areas, revisiting those areas, resting in certain areas, going to certain rivers and streams. So there are places, they are named after elephants. So while selecting the sites for water holes, we used to take the help of the old villagers and few staffs who were residential of Teliamura. And from their childhood, they used to see these elephants roaming here and there. This was one parameter. Second parameter was, in certain areas where elephants used to come, we used to see that they are coming for water, they are coming for salt. We used to create water holes and salt licks near to the forest area in that route only, so that while coming for to this village or paras for water or for salt, they can get something nearby while approaching to these areas. So, and I have shown one photograph, the first slide, that 14 elephants. This is one of the water bodies that we have created in 2019.
Okay.
And all the elephants used to come here, they used to play, and the herd, mainly herd, and go inside the forest of Pramod Nagar area, that is in Gilatali beat. So, and regarding plantation, we used to take those areas for plantation only, which had earlier presence of certain species. I told that due to ROFR interventions, many species has vanished and some other species has come in. So we used to select getting those information that we had forest in those areas. We have replaced those areas with fruit-bearing species, bamboo, and few areas with wild bananas. I think.
Okay, sir. I have another question, sir, regarding the poaching network that was or maybe is still operational in Tripura. So where do these poachers come from, and where does the illegal article end up?
This poaching network, there is no, I have not experienced any poacher coming from other areas.
Okay.
Rather, I have not seen any poacher.
Okay.
They are the local villagers. There was one case of task. He was apprehended and there was a court case. He was a local villager only. Poacher used them as a middleman.
Okay.
And another one case during my time, which we had to handle, there was a fire shot that I think one elephant we have identified. I don't know this is the elephant or not for radio coloring. There was a fire shot and we had lodged an FIR. Police were after the thing. So the elephant that was shot had a task, no doubt. So maybe it may be for task, or it may be these are the thing. So last 3.5 years, I've seen 4 tasker, big tasker. So this fire shot case, which happened in 2020, it was handled so strictly that under all pressures from many corners, we have not left it. And finally, the person was apprehended. And that has given a very strong message that nobody will be spared if they try to do something with the elephants. So that message was very clear. So that was the focus of our all interventions actually. There were 4 deaths during my time, human deaths. I had to manage them. But I told you that I cannot afford a single elephant death. I'll not tolerate that. So there was an attempt to manage, but that way, what we see in other parts, that poacher coming in, and such poachers are not there. They are the villagers only. There are records that villagers were involved in hunting. The tusk was recovered from his house. So they might be middlemen.
Okay.
On behalf of the poachers.
Okay. So one last question from my end. This time in 2022, when we visited Tripura, so I saw there were a lot of rubber plantations that were sort of, non-operational, because, there are a lot of elephants coming in. So how do you think this human-elephant interaction has impacted the, rubber plantation, the economy based on rubber plantation? And on the other hand, how rubber plantations may have affected the elephant habitat? So it's like I'm asking you a two-way question. So how has rubber plantation affected the elephant habitat, and how the elephant-human interaction may have affected the rubber plantation economy? So if you can shed a light on that.
Request Bhorde sir to respond to this question.
Actually, I didn't hear the question. I was on phone call.
Okay, I'll just repeat it. This time when I visited Tripura in 2018, especially Teliamura, parts of Teliamura, we observed that, there were some plantations which are not operational, because, elephants keep visiting them, and, the latex collection apparatus.
Which plantations?
I think it was close to Krishnapur area. Okay, so I wanted to ask how this human-elephant interaction has affected the economy based on this rubber plantations, and also how rubber plantations may have affected the elephant habitat.
I think rubber plantations, it started in Tripura, I think from 1970s.
Okay.
And this mostly it's in the hilly areas only, these rubber plantations, and mostly it is on the patta land, that's forest patta lands. And I think this elephants and these rubber plantations or our forest plantations, mostly the rubber plantations, they are very high in growth also. And sometimes it will block the roads also to, I think exactly, I have not hear these things actually, and I have not analyzed these things also, these rubber plantations and the elephant movement actually. But from whatever that I can understood, is the most of the time, and during my visits also in this Krishnapur area, the elephants, I think, keep away. They are away from this entering into the rubber plantations. I have not heard anything regarding this actually. I think DCF Wildlife, I think, have any inputs on this side.
Yes, I have seen elephants eating on the bark of rubber trees. Means they are stripping off the whole bark of rubber trees. I've seen many, and they are eating on the rubber tree bark.
Bark.
But yeah, bark. But definitely, rubber will have an adverse impact on elephant movement. Rubber cannot be a facilitator for elephant habitat. So they might have been forced to feed on the bark of rubber trees. There is no certain scientific studies, but this is as a normal perception or normal understanding. Rubber cannot support, is not a desirable species for elephant habitat. So,
okay, sir. So thank you, sir. I'll ask Sanjay to take it over.
Yes, thank you so much. And there's one more question, but I think what I would request Mr. Sri Venugopal, that I'll request both the speakers of event today, and if they are fine, we'll share their email ID with you, because this is a very specific question, and whether we should have it in the event, I'm not very sure. It's year-wise data. We'll be talking too much, and we already exceeded the time. So with that, I would conclude the Q&A session for today. And it's very interesting to have both of you and have these very, very focused questions. And I would hand it back to Amlan. Amlan, please take it over.
Thank you, Sanjay. So I would like to thank our guest speakers today. So when I visited Tripura in 2020, I was very surprised at the technological proficiency that the department had and the way the conflict was managed. So I was very, ecstatic when I got to know that, Roy sir and Akshay sir are going to share it, because I don't know if I had to share it myself, I would not have done a good job. So it's better to have the managers themselves to share their experiences and their learnings. So like I said earlier, the initiatives, the administrative initiatives, operational initiatives are highly commendable, and they set an example for many states. So I thank you, Roy sir and Akshay sir, for sharing everything about Tripura, everything about elephants in Tripura. And I thank all our participants for joining us and for all the lovely questions. And I thank Friends of Elephants for this opportunity for everyone to come together. Thank you, everyone.
Amlan, and I am really sincere thanks to this wonderful initiative that I think, I don't know, the first time maybe that the elephants of Tripura in Tripura are brought to a platform for discussion. And thanks a lot to Friends of Elephants, WTI, ANCF, you all, and this should actually carried forward. Actually. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, thank you, Friends of Elephants and all the entire team from Tripura Forest Department and this Khowai Forest WD. Thank you.